Tell me who you are, where you from?
Okay, I'm Don Moore from Marietta, Georgia. Grew up in Tucker, Georgia.
What you got to say about Larry?
Okay, I'm out here with my program display. These are mostly my dad's programs. It has all the famous Larry Munson calls through the years. A couple of the early calls from Georgia Tech and Auburn and Kentucky, and then the first, I guess, real famous calls from '73 where he worked as an announcer in Nashville all those years with Vanderbilt and never really beat Tennessee, but Georgia had beat Tennessee in Knoxville. He said, "My God, we beat Tennessee in Knoxville." And then this right here, of course, is the famous "the girders are bending" play with Appleby to Washington, Georgia against Florida in 1975. And then the program that really brought him to fame was the Yeah Rex Robinson kick from '78 there, and I had Rex Robinson sign it for me a couple weeks ago at the Varsity. And the next one here is the Buck Bellew to Amp Arnold for the two-point conversion, and earlier in the game Scott Warner had returned a punt, and he said it wasn't going to hold up, and sure enough the next kickoff Tech ran it all the way back, and we had to save ourselves with the two-point conversion. Buck Bellew came to fame there that '78 year with the Wonder Dogs. And then Munson made it on the program of the '79 Kentucky game, probably for his yeah call at the Kentucky game the year before. And then over here, Herschel Walker came onto the scene in his famous call, "My God, a freshman," and when he ran over Billy Bates, and they became teammates with the Cowboys years later. The next one here is Scott Warner, where he ran back the punt for a touchdown, and then he ran back the interception for the touchdown. And he says, "They got us in the rushing yards, the passing yards, everything. But we've got Scott Warner." He saved us that day. I got Scott Warner to sign that one for me a couple weeks ago. This is the South Carolina game where he got loose on the sideline. He goes, "There goes Herschel." And of course, the 1980, probably the best call of all, Lindsey Scott from Buck Bellew. And Lindsey Scott really got in the foot race. And there was going to be some property destroyed, and it was a miracle. And moving on here to the Georgia Tech game from that 1980 season, he broke one loose from Georgia Tech, and he got the all-time freshman rushing record that year. This is the one I double enjoy because this pylon actually was part of the frenzied crowd that ran onto the field and threw the Dixie Crystal packets out on the field for the sugar to fall from the sky. But 1982 at Auburn that year, where they had to hunker down one more time to get to the Sugar Bowl. And then this is the Terry Hogue game from '83 where he tipped the pass there in the end zone to save us in that game. That was pretty good, Terry Hogue on that one. Over here, Kevin Butler kicked the miracle 60-yard field goal against Clemson in '84, and the stadium's going bananas. It was ungodly. And he made it on the cover of the '85 Baylor program. And then the Alabama game, I guess going into the Ray Goff years here, Carswell saved our whatchamacallit with an interception right there at the end of the game. Sent Gene Stallings off 3-0 or 0-3 that year. Then we got the Auburn game from '92 when they ran out of time there at the goal line. Auburn did, and old Lady Luck smiled on us there that day. The time just ran out. They couldn't get a playoff. This right here is Hurst running like an avenging angel in the Citrus Bowl there, and I put Herb Street and the other fellow there from ESPN why they don't like us there because of that particular Citrus Bowl. And right here, the '97 game with Florida. And he says, "I've lit the cigar." He talked about the cigar the whole game. Told this girl he was going to smoke it, even though he wasn't supposed to in the press box. But Robert Edwards rumbled for the touchdown, and he lit the cigar. This one right here is a good one, the '97 Georgia Tech game, where Tech had scored with 40 seconds left or something, and then we had to rumble all the way down the field. They had a pass interference call, and then Bobo picked our hearts back up. They tore them out, and we picked it back up and put them back in, 97. And all right, one last row. This right here, of course, is when Rick got onto the scene in the famous hobnail boot play, where Tennessee scored again with 40 or 50 seconds left. We rode all the way down the field. This right here is where Pollock, they got him in the end zone. He tackled. No, he took the ball away. He took the ball away, Pollock. And then over here, the Alabama game where we weren't man enough, is a crazy catch by Fred Gibson he called. And then the Billy Bennett kick at the end, he put it up in there. And we're winning the 1992 Alabama game. And then this is a good one, or 2002 Alabama game. This is another good one, the 2002 Auburn game, the 70X play to Johnson. He couldn't tell who it was at first, and he was going, "Touchdown!"
touchdown. Who is it?
But it was Johnson, the beautiful play there that got us the SEC championship. And this right here was another game in Tennessee. He loved beating Tennessee in Knoxville. Sean Jones picked up the fumble from Jabari, the fella from Tucker there. And he ran it all the way back 96 yards. He goes, "Lady Luck is smiling on us." And Scott Howard said, "Lady Luck's wearing hobnail boots." And then here in 2004, we got a hold of Florida one more time with Fred Gibson catching some crazy pass down there and touchdown for Gibson. And then one of his last seasons, 2006, I think we was tied with Tech and went ahead at the very end with Massaquoi. Touchdown, Massaquoi. And so that's my Larry Munson collection there.
It's not a bad collection, man.
Yeah, we do it for all the games. We have set up with the Georgia-Florida games when we play them, or Georgia-Auburn, or Kentucky. And they had a good story at the Kentucky game. This big fellow wanted to come up and see the Kentucky '88 program. They had a Kentucky blue T-shirt on or sweatshirt on. They said, "I remember that game. That damn Alfred Ross transferred and beat us with the 60-yard run and knocked Vince Dooley out of share the SEC championship in the last year." And I went on for another 30 seconds. It was Alfred Ross himself.
So now, you're not a Georgia fan then?
Oh gosh, yes, I'm a Georgia fan, true and true, all the way through. So
you're not a Larry Munson fan then?
Yes, I'm a Larry Munson fan too. Absolutely, we're going to miss him. Scott Howard's doing a fine job. We're going to miss Larry, and that's what we're here today for, to honor him and pay tribute to him.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir.